Alright everyone, some people want me to talk about the Trump tapes and the Cohen stuff. I'm not going to because it's literally tabloid spew. Go ahead and listen to it, see if there's anything incriminating. Okay, story over. The fact that it's been trending for 2 fucking days is evidence that a lot of people have way too much time on their hands and don't really understand how investigations work. My major question, of course, being, how did CNN get a hold of a copy of a tape that was seized by the police? That Cohen no longer apparently had access to because it was taken during the FBI raid there. Anyone want to answer me this? Who gave it to CNN? Yeah, your friendly undercover agent probably made a little bit of a visit to their mailroom. With regards to security clearance, though, we got to talk about that. Trump has suggested, well, maybe it's possible that I'll start stripping security clearance from former government workers who had, you know, like James Comey or something. Somebody's been fired or they've resigned, their tenure's up, they don't seek, you know, their position again. They've still got security clearance, despite the fact that they're now a civilian, and in some cases they're engaged in strictly partisan behavior. In Comey's case, for example, at first he was just, he kept up the shtick of being unbiased, and he's like, well, you know, just praise America and shame on Trump, but I'm not the left-leaning. I'm not endorsing anyone, don't worry. Now he's more or less officially endorsed the Democrats. He's like, well, we must, you know, vote for Democrats this midterm to save our Republican stuff. Okay, so you have high-level security clearance and classified convos with people who mingle with Congress and everything else. And yet you might use that security clearance for malevolent purposes. Now, of course, if you were to suggest this, if Trump came out and said, well, you know, Comey could, you know, fuck his political adversaries, or he could, you know, embezzle money and then use his security clearance to help, like, a Democrat's campaign, and it's a conflict of interest, so we have to get rid of his security clearance. There's no compelling reason for him to keep it, because I don't believe he's a contractor. People keep bringing that shit up. If he were to suggest that, people would say, well, he's attacking the FBI again. And it'd be really, really dumb, and it'd be like it'd turn into a partisan cesspit. But that is a pretty good point. Could it not be severely misused? I would say, yeah, the answer is clearly yes. A person who's technically operating outside of the normal rules and protocols of the department still has access to that material, technically speaking, can view it, can potentially gain access to some of it. Not the same level as before, but they can still coordinate with their old department. Comey can still talk to his friends from the FBI and say, hey, you remember the blah blah case? I want to see that file. Or can you just read off the third line, the third paragraph to me? And he can get that done, and it doesn't apparently break any rule. I find that troubling. I find it troubling that a person who is now a civilian, not working for a contractor, not in government, they're not being paid by the taxpayers, except they have lucrative pensions, someone like McCabe can still access a lot of that material. I think that's terrifying, actually. Look, under the best of circumstances, you have problems with loose security in government agencies. Like, the contractors are probably more reliable in security. Remember when that CIA hacking suite was accidentally released to the public? You remember that? Or you remember all these little tales of, oh, well, the FBI laptop was stolen from the back of the van. Apparently, the CIA alone lost millions of dollars of computer equipment over the last decade. That's a little bit troubling, considering that some of that stuff contains, you know, information that could compromise national security. And think, this is while operating within the regulatory strictures of those government agencies, while the people are actively employed and do legitimately have security clearance. So under the best of circumstances, the most obvious circumstances in which people would have security clearance, there are still major mistakes made that could jeopardize the entire future of the Western world. What about somebody who no longer is in those ages, like James Comey? Say he's got the access to that classified info and he's filed it away in a desk somewhere, and now he's no longer doing so in a secure facility. He's not doing it in some office at the Pentagon, he's doing it in his penthouse or whatever. You know, after getting a $2 million book deal, he's probably living a little higher on the hog than he was when he was heading the FBI. Yeah, I would say that's troubling to me. I don't think it should be happening, and I don't even see it as partisan. Some people are saying, well, Trump's trying to attack his political opponents. Fucking who cares if it's Trump? No, they should automatically be stripped, regardless of who the president is, regardless of what partisan activities they're actually taking part in. They fundraise for a Senate candidate. They gave lip service in public to a gubernatorial candidate. Like they said, oh, yeah, I endorse X, Y, and Z. I don't really care. I don't care if they're a total Republican. They shouldn't have security clearance. When they leave, it should be automatically stripped. And then if there is a compelling reason for them to still have security clearance at a lower level, presumably they're working as a contractor, whatever, you know, the case may be, they should have to go back through the process of getting that clearance again. They should have to do the same thing as when they took the job in the first place. Well, you got to file this paper, and we're going to interview you, and we're going to do, like, you know, a cursory background check or something. Make sure that you can read classified material and that you don't have any major blots on your character that would compromise, you know, your integrity. Okay, well, make them go back through that. It's self-explanatory. Add an extra layer of security. We have enough problems with security issues in this country with regards to our intel agencies. Hell, the politicians that oversee the intel agencies appear to be even worse. They can't even send an email. Like Hillary Clinton says, oh, where does the server go? It goes in a bathroom closet. What's the password on our server? Says the DNC. Oh, Obama, oh, wait, that's secure. Yeah, it's not like any fucking person who gains access to the building in 10 minutes could figure it out and then download every fucking thing with a flash drive because they're pissed off that we're fucking Bernie Sanders up the ass. But that's what happened. Yeah, these people really know about cybersecurity. I thought it was funny when Trump came out and said the cyber. You'll remember that when he was campaigning. He's like, well, we've got to improve the cyber. And he meant cybersecurity. People jumped down his throat. It's like, hey, at least he can tweet. Some of these people in Congress are so geriatric, I don't think they can. I didn't even think they could use like MySpace, something totally primitive. So, email, oh my God, how do I send a fucking letter? I don't understand this email thing. It doesn't make any sense to me. How does it send? It's like, where do I put the letter in this? Oh no, that's the CD tray. Yeah, that's the record player. That's the average age of the people in Congress. It's like insane. And then you're saying, well, these people should still have security clearance after they're fucking leaving their jobs. Why? Why does Comey need security clearance? What does he need to look at? What materials that are classified does he need to have access to for the functions of our democratic republic to stay safe? He doesn't. That's the answer. Why McCabe got fired? I think he's still got security clearance, technically speaking. Why? It doesn't make any sense to continue it. Not unless they're working for a contractor, and in the role that they're working in for the contractor, they need that clearance. And if that's the case, let them reapply. And let's make sure everything conforms to, you know, the basic rudiments of, hey, you know, we don't want all of our stuff getting into the hands of foreign states. You know, Zuckerberg sells stuff to China all the time, making it really difficult because, you know, people in Congress, they have like Facebook accounts and Twitter too. And so they talk to people. It would be so funny if they released like all the private messages of members of Congress. It'd be really funny if somebody did that because I bet it'd be very illuminating, so to speak. I bet half of them would get impeached the next day, you know, for various high crimes and misdemeanors. That's about all. Peace out.